Good morning, animal science class. Today I have put together the segment 1 of our 2014 pork production video series. Today we're going to look at some of the facilities that are utilized in the modern day pork industry in terms of waste management. And one of the major obstacles to overcome if a producer would like to put a building up and to construct a modern day pork facility would be to have a plan for waste management, where they're going to go to get rid of all of their waste products, etc. And today I've put together some of the footage that is happening around northwest Iowa. So here we have video segment 1. The first segment is a shot of a modern day waste vehicle, we will call it, the manure tank. It's a Huel 8,300 gallon. This is a facility right outside my house where they are putting injecting the lagoon waste directly into a bean field. Now, what I'd like to do is stop the video. Who understands or has an idea why do most people inject this waste product into bean fields? If you notice, most of the time it's going into bean fields. Okay, good. And here you can see he's waiting to pull out onto the road. You can see he is completely stopped. Now he's starting to pull out, and you can see that he pulls onto the road because these are dangerous. And most of you understand the major accident that happened on Highway 60 just this last year. And so these pieces of equipment are very large and potentially very dangerous, and they haul a lot of gallons. If you think about that, 8,300 gallons plus the weight of the actual machine, the tractor. How many pounds do you suppose are going down the road there? Let's take a second to figure that out. Okay, that's interesting information. So if you see here, we'll let him pull off the yard, and away he goes. The next segment that I would like to show you is a segment of numerous facilities that you see around northwest Iowa. And as I let the video roll here, you're going to see this is a modern day facility. How many head would you suppose this facility is? Okay, I'd agree. I believe this is a 1,200 head facility. A number of things that I would like you to notice in here. You can see this is the area where the curtains are. These curtains are pulled up. You can see all of this open air space. Okay, and the day that I'm taking and shooting this video, it's probably a 70-some degree day. Not sure the size of the pigs inside. I didn't get up that close, but more than likely, probably pigs that are a little larger and producing a lot of internal heat, so the curtains are open. Also, you can see in here, this is each time you see one of these, who knows what that is? Okay, we need to make sure that, yeah, those are the vents from the pit underneath, and a lot of times they'll just remove those, and that's where they will actually pull the waste out of the lagoon. So as you can see, a couple things. It's a pretty modern facility. We got the propane tank over here, demonstrating that obviously during the harsh Iowa winters, even though it's full of pigs, there still needs to be a heat source, especially when pigs come in the middle of the winter. It's 10 degrees or 0. Those little 15, 20-pound pigs don't generate a lot of heat compared to the winters that we face. So as we go through the remaining portion of this video, as you see here, this is the east end of the facility. We have our bulk bins up in this area. This is a office area that medications are stored, antibiotics are stored, syringes, equipment like that. And as you see, we're going to pull in the driveway here. Oftentimes these bales will be put in strategic places before winter to serve as a windbreak. So that helps with a little bit of the protecting the facility. As we come past the office, you can see the bulk bins. Then you see also this area here, another fan, external fan to get above the facility. You saw earlier we had the exhaust fans in the pit. These are the exhaust fans where the actual pigs are. And this area right here, you can see this is the actual loadout chute covered with a tarp, so to speak, so that the draft doesn't come in and doesn't come in through the rest of the barn. Another bulk bin. And then you can see, if you listen closely, the tractor is actually running. And they are in the process of loading out. And this is an area where this vent has been moved. There's a great big access pit underneath there, and that's where they actually agitate then and auger out the waste product into one of the modern day wagons that they haul the waste with. This is another facility. You can see the difference here. It could be the size of pigs, but this curtain is much, much higher because it's the same time of day. I took this video shortly after the previous one. This curtain is almost fully extended, so more than likely, can't remember, this building could be facing a different direction, so it could be a different air current flowing through. But either way, you can see that the currents automatically adjust to a thermostat. Moving into a different concept a little bit. Here we have just a secluded area on a field driveway, and if you look at that as we go by, obviously you can see that this is, who knows? Right, it's just a secluded area so that when pigs don't make it, pigs that have passed, that are death loss, are put behind that so that it doesn't look like there's just dead pigs laying everywhere. That's where the rendering truck will come, pick those up, and it's interesting that it's quite a ways away from the actual home house and the facility, and that's to keep that away from so that it's just not an obstacle for home living. So interesting. I haven't seen too many of those places that they do that away from the house like that, but that's an interesting thing. It's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Here we come into another facility, just trying to show, you can see that people usually put hedges of trees and things to be environmentally sound and to provide some windbreaks. So here's another facility in Sheldon vicinity. Anybody recognize where this is? And here we have another set of three. Anyone recognize these buildings? Okay, once again, when we look here, we can see the three facilities. Curtains are up here, down here. Here we have a bulk bin. A lot of times there's an alley right down the center. We could separate males, females. Could be a different ration here, different ration here. We have an office area for storage of sanitation equipment, antibiotics, medications, that type of thing. And then we have the propane tanks for all of them for midwinter. Now we have looked at the waste facilities on the farm. This is AWS in Hull, and these are actually their complete line of equipment. You can see it's called automatic waste systems, and these are all pumps and agitators. The lagoons have to be agitated so that the sludge and the material is in the right kind of conditions so that it can be spread. And so this will just give you an inventory, a little bit of an idea of the inventory that some businesses have, proving how big pork production is in northwest Iowa. And so as we look, you can hear that the cars are going by, but look at the inventory of agitators and pumps that they have on hand. proving what a huge industry that it is here. Amazing. You can see some feeder wagons there in the background. They carry a number of other things as well. And then as we move into the next segment of the video, now this is showing all of the wagons that they have on hand. And you can see they're either going to be 80, 70, could be some 6300s, 8300s, up to even larger. So I'm going to roll the video here and look at the inventory that they have of waste management wagons. It's just one after another. A lot of these are used. There is a section where there are some new ones. A lot of these are used. So they take a lot of wear and tear going up and down the road. But it's just amazing how many they have on hand. That's one row. Then we come back. This just shows some of these are the augers that the pumps pump into these augers, and the augers then, of course, dump out from the top into the back end of these wagons. And we'll show some of that in a second. This is a close-up of the back end. You can see that these coulters cut away, and then the injectors, the material is injected. Legally anymore in the swine industry, waste material cannot be spread on the top. By DNR law, it actually is required to be injected. And so this is the modern trend of how waste is distributed today. And you can see here when the augers that we showed a minute ago, they pump it into the top. The operator has to back directly underneath, so it's quite a little bit of a skill to even do that component of hauling. And here I've taken some footage of a modified great big truck that has had AWS's equipment put on. You can see they've cut a hole in the top, and they've actually put a spout for receiving, and then here they have for an ability to transfer. So they could haul this out in this large mass form transit and then dump into a smaller one that's actually going to be injecting out into the field. Obviously with the truck you won't be able to inject, so that's why you have a receiving end and then a transfer end into one of the machines. So another example of modern day. This is directly across the road north of AWS, and this is an example of who thinks they know what's happening here. Let me run the footage just for a second. I know you can't see it real well, but that is not clear water. That was an example of irrigation in a regular irrigation system distributing waste. And then I also have a little footage here of the actual injecting process. Sorry that it's not real close up. This is taken from a highway, but you can at least see the actual footage and the actual process of the injecting process. So they go at a fairly decent clip, and this type of activity, of course, also needs to be calibrated out, because one of the things that we'll be learning is that, for every 1,000 gallons, there's probably 45 to 50, 55 pounds of pure nitrogen. And so when we look at that, there's a lot of money in these tanks every time. And the person on this bean field is not necessarily going to have to apply much fertilizer, because you've got the nitrogen back from the beans from the year before, plus all of the waste from the manure waste. And so nutritionally, this field, although that sounds kind of gross maybe to you, this is actually quite a nutrified field. Anybody know where that field is? So, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck on the rest.